Hi there, everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late this morning, just trying to get things together and make sure that I've got everything ready to go. So we are actually, of course, I choose to make things that are super simple, that are a little bit healthier options of things so that you have some great go-tos. And one of the things that I've thought about over the years was, I really wish there were ways to make vegetables more appealing, especially like to my kids, but even for me. So this is a great modification of kind of combining two recipes, but it's so easy. We're gonna combine peppers of multiple colors and eggs, which of course eggs are a complete protein, so they're a great option, especially if you're trying to get all your proteins in. Eggs used to take such a bad rap, and of course now we know a little bit more about the benefits of the eggs and the yolks and the nutrients that it provides, and even cholesterol. Cholesterol is necessary. Eating too much cholesterol is not necessarily the issue. It's not eating enough fiber. But again, topic for another day. Let's talk about how to make these. So this is super simple. I've actually cut a couple of different colors of peppers in half and completely cleaned them out with the seeds and everything. Now, I just made a batch. It's almost finished in the oven so you can see what they look like. But from experience, what I'm going to tell you already is that you kind of have to position the peppers, since I've halved them. If you don't position them right, all the fun stuff that's going to bake on the inside is going to run out. So kind of position those so that the shallow end doesn't allow all of the egg mixture to kind of run out. So I've actually cut up 2 peppers. There's actually more because of course I made a batch already, but I've just used some color. Using the color makes them kind of fun. And of course, if you grow your own, what a great option, way to use them. But we're just going to create an omelet mixture to stick inside. There's my dinger for the ones that I'm making right now. So I'm going to pull those out, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the ones that I've cut that are just fresh. I'm going to stick those in the oven for about 5 minutes and allow them to warm up a little bit so that when I do pour the egg mixture in, it's ready to cook it. So let me pull these out. Oh yeah, yummy. They actually look really good. I'm gonna throw these in and set my timer for 5 minutes. There we go. And then as soon as the mixture is ready to go, I'm just gonna pull them out and put the mixture in. So here's what we're gonna do. Now the recipe itself calls for two bell peppers, or 2 full peppers. I've used a total of 6. With the recipe, since I've already done it before and I know that it works, if you're doing just 2 peppers, you don't need a full amount of ingredients. You're just gonna have extra, so you're gonna have to just use them somehow. So the recipe calls for 8. I'm gonna tell you for 2 peppers, probably 6 is more than enough, because you're also gonna use a little bit of milk. Now, of course, at my house, we use unsweetened almond milk, just because, number one, my body doesn't like lactose whatsoever. And I'm actually not even gonna use a full 1/4 cup, because I really don't think I'm gonna need it. Again, I think it's just gonna overfill my peppers. And I'm gonna mix those together, beat those a little bit. Now you can throw whatever you like in your omelet. This morning I threw a little bit of ham in there, but you could do bacon, crumbles. Again, it just depends on what your macros are. So if you are doing a lower carb, a little bit higher fat, you can actually afford to put some extra stuff in there with a little bit higher fats in there. You're also going to add some cheese. Now, at my house, we just buy pre-shredded most of the time, but I also, either way is fine, doesn't really matter. Now it calls for a full cup. Again, if you combine all of the ingredients the way they're written out, you're gonna have way more than you need for your peppers. So you might even half the recipe, like I often do. So I am not gonna stick a full cup in there. I'm gonna do maybe a 1/2 cup. I like stuff cheesy. And since I tend to go a little lower carb at this point, I do tend to do a little higher in fat. I don't do a ton of cheese, partially because it's dairy and my body doesn't really do well with dairy, but also because it is a little bit higher in saturated fat, and I like a little more healthier fats than that. So I tend to stick with coconut oil and avocado and almonds and almond butter as my primary healthy fats. Okay, so I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Super simple. Okay, just for flavoring. Now, it also calls for some fresh chives. That is not something I have in my house this morning, so I'm not gonna add that, but you could add any kind of seasoning that you like. Fresh herbs are just a great way to kind of add some freshness and some flavor to your recipe. So that works just fine as well. Okay, I'm actually not gonna put any proteins in it besides the eggs at the moment, just because I do have the cheese and everything in there. So I've just mixed everything in my bowl. I'm gonna pull out my peppers just a little bit early, just because I wanna get them done. I wanna show you, and then I'll show you what they look like when they are finished. All right. up just a little bit so that they're ready to put the egg mixture in and be cooked right away. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna rearrange these. I don't want them tipped over because it'll just, especially this green one, because it just doesn't have a whole lot of top. It just got cut a little bit funny. I just wanna make sure that it's not gonna let all my mixture out. Okay. And we got it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna use my nice little measuring cup here, just because it'll be a little bit easier. I'll have a little more control. Like I said, make sure that they're not going to completely leak out. And you know, if you have any extras, you could always like scramble it on the stove with a pan, or make something else out of it. Make a full-on omelet. I just like healthier versions. Now, usually in my omelets, I actually like a little bit of onion. I like to cut up a little bit of pepper. I actually like some of the greens these days and the vegetables in my omelets. I don't do as much in the way of omelets. I tend to do more scrambles than anything, just because I like them. I like them that way. And I'm very careful, especially when I get an omelet at a restaurant. A lot of restaurants do add a little bit of pancake flour to their omelets to make them fluffier. And of course, that puts me out of my macros. Plus, I'm not a fan of gluten. So that can be a problem. So you can see that my little red one does not want to fully contain what I'm putting in it. And my yellow pepper is actually leaking. But, you know, it is what it is. And I do have actually a little bit of the mixture left. So like I said, I could totally scramble that up just a little bit. Now, like I said, if you want, you can put some fresh chives in there when you throw it in. I'm going to throw this in the oven, and then I'll show you exactly what it's going to look like when it comes out. So for those of you, I've always been a fan of like quiche and things like that. So you could actually kind of change that up. Maybe throw some Swiss cheese in there instead of cheddar cheese like I did today. And you can also throw other vegetables in there, such as you could throw some spinach in there, you know, any sort of vegetables that sound good to you. You could even maybe stir fry them up in just a little bit of olive oil first. Would make for some great flavors. So once you're done, I'm gonna cook that for about 30 to 35 minutes. And once they're done, here is what they're going to look like. Now, I did a green and a red pepper earlier. I just did the complete mixture, super simple. They're nice and hot and warm. Let me turn off my little dinger here. Super simple. And you know what? Maybe it's a great way to get your family to start eating some more vegetables, just because I know that's a difficult one. And just a tip from someone who's been very unhealthy in her life to someone who eats incredibly healthy at this point for the most part. You know, it just takes time to change your taste buds. And if you start young with your kids and start with vegetables and just utilizing those in ways that they are used to, it's a big difference than, say, when I grew up on a lot of processed junk food. And of course, the more that you eat those hyper palatable foods, you don't want the healthier foods because, of course, they taste different to your tongue. So just a tip, the more that you eat those healthier foods, the more they will become accustomed to the flavors and the more you will appreciate them, right? Because you're not getting all of that junk and those chemicals that are designed to addict you to the food. So that's Meals with Melissa today. And until next time, have an incredible weekend, you guys. Bye-bye now.